All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and call the CCSU meeting to order. It is, what day is it today? 22nd? Wow, that is not even the right day. Okay, and we are meeting here at the high school library at a little after 6 o'clock. First order of business. Is any visitors or employees to be heard? Hearing none, seeing none, we will move on to the next agenda item, which is, we're going to do this one more time before we close out the books on this this board, and we're going to reorganize. Just because we enjoy doing it. And I guess it's the rules.
It's the rules.
So I need to turn over the meeting to Judy for a moment.
Thank you. So we have a slate of officers that usually rotate. So the election of the chair, it's Michael's time to come up again as the chair from the Prudential Committee, and he will assume the rest of the meeting. So it's all those in favor of Michael.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we
do the slate.
Nominate a slate of officers. Michael for chair, who's for vice chair.
Me.
Liz
and Mark
Subin for vice chair and Mark Drupp for clerk. I knew Mark was clerk, but I just wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I'd like to make that motion. That
Is
I'll
there
make
a
a motion
second?
that we elect them. Can I do that?
You can.
Let's do that.
I don't see why not.
Marla seconds. And since Mark isn't here, Ben, I assume you're taking the minutes? Yeah. Thank you. All those in favor? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Congratulations.
Okay, great.
First of one, many exits, right?
All right, so then just need a single motion to finish up this, which would be to authorize payment of warrants, authorize board legal counsel, which would be to appoint the firm of Wright Jones PLC to represent the district, authorize the chair or the clerk to sign warrants on behalf of the board, and assert the newspaper of record, which would be the Burlington Free Press.
I'll make such a motion.
All right.
Andre moves.
Andre, second? Second. Liz? Any additional discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all those in favor of previously mentioned motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 8-0. Excellent. All right. Next up, I think that's everything, right?
Yes, for reorganizing.
Okay, excellent. I mean, for the reorg, sorry. I should say we're not ending the meeting just yet. Next up is, in your org packet, is we have several folks, transitioning or whatever that had some vacation time they need to, they couldn't use up. And so the recommendation is that these individuals be compensated for the remaining vacation leave days at their per diem rate. So, I mean, you guys have the numbers in front of you. Anyone want to talk about it?
Well, I would just add that the transition to the new school district has been an incredible amount of work, and when you add on top of that the fact that we lost our CFO in December, I think I wouldn't normally like to do this, but I think in this particular instance it's a very reasonable request. So I would move that we. Do you want me to wait? I'll wait for
just
the motion.
a minute. Wait, I just wondered if in the motion I agree with doing this because the transition, it was needed. but I believe we don't usually like doing this, so in the motion, number one, do we have to state the names of the people?
So I think stating the
Okay.
names is fine.
And the other thing is, could we put in the motion that we don't want it to be precedence-setting?
Or we could just say, this is happening because of the unusual circumstance of the transition happening this year. All right.
I was actually gonna kind of chime in with the same thing, just annotating in some way that this is a situational sort of thing, due to the following
Extenuating circumstances.
All right, well, let me try this. Make a motion that we compensate Deb Henderson, Kathy Perrin, Martha Austin, and Judith DeNovo at their per diem rates for their unused vacation leave days for this school year. This action is being taken because the extent to a new district and the fact that I lost our green. Did you get that one? Good.
Second?
I'll second.
Second by Marla. Any additional discussion? The only thing I'd like to say is I definitely agree with this. I think this is a great idea because of the amount of work that these people put in due to, losing folks, and they just gave up their time to be part of the transition and to help it along as much as they could.
And it's been an incredible amount of work.
Yeah. So, just wanted to say that.
I just want to say we're lucky that we have those individuals.
Yes.
And that they were willing to put this amount of time in. I think it shows a lot of dedication to what we were about, so,
And what we were trying to accomplish.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0.
Thank you. On behalf of all of us.
Thank you very much. Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, one last item for this meeting is the consent agenda. Anyone want to make a motion for it?
I'll make such a motion.
Oh, Andre, excellent. I get to write another name down on my sheet.
Can I just ask if the second item on the consent agenda is required after the reorg? We've authorized the chair or the clerk to sign warrants on behalf of the board. Is there a reason to authorize the clerk to sign them to the
It's
rest of you?
typically after June 30th. We just want to make sure that someone, whomever that is available to approve, because your business doesn't always, the processing of all the warrants doesn't usually happen right on June 30th. So if anything comes in, to make sure people are aware that they need to be here and available. Might be overkill, but either way, we're going to make sure we had it documented in the minutes that
Okay.
somebody's been authorized to sign on behalf of the board.
Sure. The clerk and the chair are now on double secret probation.
Yes.
All right, so I have a motion by Andre.
Are you going to list the exact things in the
Oh.
motion?
Sure. To approve the warrants, to authorize the clerk or the chair to sign warrants on behalf of the board through the end of the fiscal year transactions, and to approve the meeting minutes of August 22nd, 2016.
I think you should say through July, not through the fiscal year, because the fiscal year ends at the end of June. So these are warrants that will cover expenditures that are made by June 30th, but they may not be ready to be signed till July.
Okay, sorry, through July. The approval of the warrants through July. The clerk or the chair can sign those. Second by Liz. Any other discussion, questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 8-0. Okay, is there anything else anyone wants to say?
Are we meeting again as a CCSU board, or is this it
You'll have to,
for the warrants?
the audit.
For the audit, probably
probably will be
sometime
one
in
more.
November, probably. Yeah, the last CCSU meeting.
Right.
And we have an opportunity to introduce Beth Cobb. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of meeting her yet, she's the next superintendent coming on board, and we're so excited about her entry and making herself available tonight. Means a lot to hear what some of the legacy boards will be communicating to the new board. So maybe it's a little bit of a chance for you to talk right now about what are some of the things that you think would be important for Beth to know or hear, or for other legacy board members, so that when you go into the meeting, you have some things on the top of your head, because you had a chance to talk about some of the things that you're most proud of that this SU board has done over the past, well, since 1935. Not any of you were here that long, but you know, just the fact that you guys had an opportunity to be a part of a union high school. It was 20 years ago that the high school unified, so it was like kind of the first step toward unity. And then since then, we've ushered in proficiency-based learning, personal learning plans coming in, all of the electronic systems that are in now that we use daily, finance systems, SunGuard, a gazillion ways we do business now.
Well, I mean, one of the first things we did was to create a common policy manual. And
That was huge.
That was huge, you know. And we did that a long time ago. It was when Brian Doobie was chair
Yeah.
of the board. And that was the first step toward really doing more and more together.
1995.
1995 that was?
I was going to say 92, but 95 makes sense.
Yeah.
And Diane Clements was the first chair of this union high school
School board.
Yes.
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, yeah, she was.
So
Yeah. And
I'm going to say I think it's just amazing that you can take such different districts, and I think we set the bar on how you can get along,
absolutely, Marla.
because Westford is much different than Essex Junction versus the high school. And I think everything we ever did, I never heard somebody saying they were just cutting a budget to cut a budget. It was always, our questions were, what could we fiscally afford and do the right thing for the children?
That's right. It was always sports focus, and the relationships you've had with one another, not only as your own boards, but all of, you know, it's remarkable. I think and that you're continuing on, several of you, with the new board. I mean, talk about dedication.
Well, I'm going to show how long I've been on this board and say that there was one short period of exception to that when we had a board chair who really wanted to get rid of Westford.
Yes.
And I was, yeah, and I was just so appreciative of how everyone else at the table treated that, and you know, just felt that this person felt that Westford was getting more time than they were paying for, and so forth and so on, and everyone else just said, you know, we're doing well together, and not quite stop it, but almost.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
I'm
the-
just thankful I'm very mouthy, and I know
You're thankful
I've
you're
known
mouthy.
Brian and Martha a lot, and you're still talking to me. So I think that shows a lot of professionalism on their part. So
I think of the safety audit that you've had done years ago and the things that you brought in during that time. I think about your board evaluations, that you took time annually to evaluate your work. talk
The
about how to
climate
improve it.
survey.
The climate
Yeah.
survey and how we've managed that. Relationship with the association, you were the first to unify all 3 contracts from the 3 different communities. And now we're doing that again.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Those are just not things that happen every day. And, you know, there's some things I'm sure you want to consider going on or moving on for Beth. But I'm going to tell a little story about what's in this bag. So the superintendent's.
Before you,
oh.
I'm just going to interrupt and
Okay.
say, because I think I know where you're going. I want to say that I am incredibly grateful for the strong leadership this CCSU has had in most of my years since 1985, and we are fortunate to have had fabulous superintendents who stayed with us for a long time and gave us continuity, and that makes such a difference in what a school district can accomplish. So thank you for
Absolutely.
letting me
Oh, you-
interrupt.
Certainly. Yes, sustained leadership is definitely added value to the achievement of our kids. And so each year, the Vermont Superintendents Association has a meeting in this past week in May, and they have a tradition. And their tradition is there's a bunch of these bags on a table, and they ask all the retiring superintendents to come up and choose a bag. So there were 6 superintendents that couldn't attend the meeting that were retiring, and 7 of us there. There's 13 superintendents in the state of Vermont out of about 59 that are retiring this year, quite the largest number we've seen in a long time. And it's for all different reasons. Certainly unification is one, knowing that the ideal is to reduce. So the direction was you were to come forward and you were to choose a bag. And when you open your bag, there will be 2 rocks in the bag. One rock you're to keep as a gift. The other rock you're to give to the new superintendent. So I chose this bag. I had to think about it for just about half a second. And I took out my 2 rocks.
No, I thought that
And-
was a different rock. Okay.
And the first rock that I chose said the word faith. And I decided that I would keep the faith. The faith that I know you will all continue to support the schools in so many incredible ways, whether you're the new COO or continued board members, because your sustained leadership has made a huge difference as well. And the second rock that I'm giving to Beth is inspire.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you. I have faith too.
I know, I'm keeping the faith. So,
Thank you.
You can continue to inspire because you will be so inspired by those who lead here.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So I did my duty and I did it on camera, so everyone saw me give my rock away. It's a great,
That's
So it should be
Very
marbles,
nice.
then you really lose it.
yeah, I know. I might put a few of those in this bag soon too.
With the faith.
Yeah, with faith.
I just wanted to say one thing, which is I've obviously been on the board much shorter than people here. I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I guess. But one of the things that I found really interesting being on the board is, you know, we do have, as people have said, you know, different towns in our district. And I was looking at some of the other districts that were having such acrimony and such really just quite awful things, you know, happening. And I just always felt that we were so fortunate that whether it was negotiating with the teachers or working collaboratively together, you know, I think I really, really always felt, and we would say it many times in our meetings, but to focus on the students And I really, I think that's one of the things that when I think of Inspire, you know, that's something that I would love. I mean, I'm leaving, but that would be one of the things that I would put at the top of the list of something that would be so important to see continue on. That respect that everybody I see has shown to each other, and keeping the students first in their mind.
Yes.
So, anyway, just thoughts.
For that.
And regarding that, in the early 1990s, before I got on the board in 94, 95, there were a couple budget defeats and there was some turmoil going on. And I don't remember since then any of that, and everybody, you know, we never had to impose a contract that I remember. And so when you talk about that respect, I think the staff was also felt it important to compromise or whatever we had to do for the students.
Absolutely.
So-
I mean, it's a testament, you know, our budget's passing.
Yeah.
You know, I think that really says something. You know, we've worked hard to try to be fiscally responsible, but also, you know, meet the needs of the community as best that we can, so.
I remember Roger Derby coming into the district and being brand new. Roger Derby saying oftentimes that we are blessed with stability, and that comes with an obligation to lead. Because when you're up against crisis, you're really in a respond mode, and that the district was really blessed with that, and that came with that didn't come with like sit on your laurels. It came with
Yeah.
question, improve, and lead. And that was you know, it's always stuck with me, is that communities that have the faith and support of their
Yes.
taxpayers, and the engagement of their parents, and the support of their teaching staff and their faculty and of the administrators, really have an important obligation to use that, to leverage it, not to just sit back. That Roger, he always knew something.
I remember an incident about the CCSU board. I always felt they were very reactive to any issues and would grab hold of it and resolve it as quick as possible in order to keep the students ahead and to keep the systems in place. And there has been some challenges over the years. I remember a time that we had to bring about a different model and then change it again. But it was very innovative, and I was going forward, not sitting back and saying, this won't work, what can we do to make it work?
Yeah.
Yes.
That year we changed the model. I happen to be chair of CCSU. And so anybody who wants me to be a chair of any board, it's no. That was the hardest thing, to change that model, and trying to talk a couple of the stubborn people into it, like Andre
And Ernie.
into it. Had to really prove the financial benefits of it. You really kept it going.
Liz?
I was just gonna say that I appreciate that in like 3 minutes, all of our boards are gonna have an opportunity to have the same conversation. I'm really glad you're here for it, Beth, to hear all of this conversation facilitated, and I'm really excited about that. And just wanted to say personally that my tenure on the board has been just over 3 years, and I have benefited from Brian Donahue's leadership and his familiarity with this district and with the budgets and with all the roles that Brian has played as a board member and as an administrator and community member, parent. Just so grateful for Brian being part of this district moving forward, and for talk about leadership and having faith in the leaders that you're going to be surrounded with. I think we're really well poised, and so thank you, Brian, for that.
Well, thanks everyone. We're gonna be right here in about
5 minutes.
2 more minutes. So, if there's anything else, I am going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being chair again.
Did you bring the warrants for this board?
What's that?
Perfect, perfect.
Somewhere
Okay.
to sign.
All right.